Hi, welcome back. I'm Melissa Muir, and in this video I have partnered with Bernzomatic to introduce you to the new FirePoint Creator Tool. This is a great little torch, and I'm going to show you how to create a pair of earrings with this. But before we get into that, let's jump in and talk a little bit about the torch and a few of its features. The Bernzomatic FirePoint Creator Tool has a base that will hold and store both the torch handle and both 14-ounce and 1-pound fuel cylinders. For best results, use only Bernzomatic MAP Pro or propane fuel. To assemble the FirePoint Creator Tool, attach the flexible 41-inch hose by inserting the fuel line and rotating to tighten. Once everything is tight, we need to turn on the flow of fuel by rotating the top knob from the off position to the on. We can now insert the canister into the heat-resistant base holder. Always make sure you work safely, so pair of safety glasses. If you happen to have long hair, make sure you do what you need to do to secure that and keep it out of your way. The torch handle features an easy-to-use ignition button. The instant on-off ignition button features a flame lock to also keep the flame running without having to hold in the ignition button. The adjustable precision flame control is located at the top of the torch head, allowing you to control the size of flame. To turn the torch off, press the ignition button while pulling down. When the torch is not in use, store the torch in the torch dock. Always turn the torch off before docking. When you are finished using the FirePoint Creator Tool, turn it off and remove the torch from the canister. Never leave the hose connected to the canister when the torch is not in use. The base has a few handy features. The dock is metal lined to keep a hot torch head from melting or burning other objects. It also has 3 mounting holes, so it can be permanently mounted to your bench top. This setup keeps everything safely upright and stores it all nice and compact. To show you what can be done with this torch in jewelry making, I'm creating a pair of earrings and starting with some fine silver bezels. I'm also making the textured back plate with 0.8mm or 20 gauge sterling silver sheet. I start by flexing the seam and adding a piece of solder to each bezel. Small silver items like this are very easy to melt with either too much heat or poor torch control. The FirePoint Creator Tool features a nice tight flame. The MAP Pro gas is a very hot flame, so I make sure I dance around the bezels as I heat them up to avoid having a meltdown. Next is adding a jump ring to the sterling back plates for each of the earrings to hang on. Once again, flux is used and a small piece of solder is added to each ring. When using the FirePoint Creator Tool, I heat the back plate, not the ring. The ring will heat up and the solder will flow once everything is to the proper temperature. It is important to make sure you keep that torch moving so you don't accidentally melt the piece or burn a hole into it. I then repeat for the second piece. Once the earrings have been cleaned up, it is time to add the bezel and tube settings for the stones. Flux is added to keep the metal clean for the soldering process, and once the bezels and tubes have been placed, I use the FirePoint Creator Tool to dry the flux. Next step is to add a small piece of solder to each of the settings. It doesn't take much. Again, the heat should be directed at the back plate, not the settings or the solder. Because the flame is nice and tight, I'm able to direct the flame and the heat onto the back plate between the settings. Continue to move that flame on the back plate until the solder has flowed in all 3 settings. The precision flame is also ideal for balling up the ends of the wires that will then become my ear wires. To finish off my earrings, it's time to set the stones. I begin with the cabochon and bezel using traditional setting techniques with a bezel pusher and a burnisher. To set my faceted stones, I like to use a specialized tube setting punch to both set and burnish each of the settings. Once the stones have been set, all that is left is to add some handmade ear wires and add a final polish. The FirePoint Creator Tool is great for smaller items such as rings, necklaces, pendants, and of course earrings such as these. If you'd like to find out more, be sure to visit bernzomatic.com today.